Alright guys, I know I put this off for a while, but it's time for my annual yap session about a tier list. I've been putting this off for a good little second, but anyways, after a good amount of playing with all of these fruits, I'll give you what I think is the general decision of where I view each of these fruits in terms of how good they are. This tier list will be from left to right, so whatever is more to the left, I do think it's better than whatever is more to the right, unless I say something in the video that I don't actually think that, and it's like kind of situational for some fruits. Anyways, I'm gonna get a big one. I'm gonna get like some staples into each category. So for Z tier, my staple is still Dragon V2. It's still extremely busted in terms of the Dragon Twister being dumb and other things, but we have some nerfs coming in this next update that will bring it down and make it more even with everything else. So we'll just have to wait for the update to see that. But anyways, that'll be my staple for Z tier currently. My staple for S tier currently will be Venom, because, you know, Venom is just still a really good fruit, has really good range, really good like mobility, and in terms of attacking, it's also extremely fast with a lot of unblockable things. Anyways, next up, let me see. I gotta cook something for you. A tier, I kind of want to put something like Magnet in there, because yeah, Magnet should be a good staple fruit for A tier. Something that's pretty good, but you know, it's not up there with Venom just yet. Not just yet, but after the nerfs, maybe. B tier, this is something that's below Magnet but still usable. I'm gonna have to give this to Gravity. Gravity is just not in that tier up there with Magnet because of how the inconsistencies in terms of how good weak planetary devastation and the ult are. But I mean, other than that, it is still a pretty strong fruit. I'll give it that. Next up, we have C tier. This is barely, like really barely usable. If you beat your opponent with it, they are kind of garbage, I'm not gonna lie. I'll put Gas down here. This fruit isn't that bad, but too many things on it are blockable, and it just really doesn't have the attacking power it needs to compete with those top tier fruits in the slightest, like at all. And next up, we got D tier, which is like just, this fruit is like barely usable. Stray away from it because it's gonna get you beat. We got Rubber, and then in Chop tier, we have Chop, because that's where it deserves to be, in Chop tier. All right, anyways, let's start going through these randomly and, you know, just picking stuff and putting it in categories. First off, we got Quake. I genuinely do believe Quake is better than Magnet. I've done 1v1s in Quake v Magnet, and I just feel like Quake is stronger in terms of combos overall, though I do feel like Magnet has better versatility in terms of being able to fight the top tier fruits, but in general, in terms of fighting the fruits around its level, I will have to give it to Quake. Next up, let's see. I'll go with Magma. Magma is a B tier fruit. It used to be considered like really broken, especially with like the lack of counterplay for Hellhound having the ability to hold a block during it, and we just didn't have as many guard breaks, especially like when like Doe was like the peak of everything, so there wasn't really like a counter to like blocking during the Hellhound besides like a buzz cut or something. But now we have plenty of fruits with block bypasses and ways to counter it, so it's just falling off. It needs a few buffs, because like the one skill being blockable is, yeah, gotta be the biggest travesty in history, I'm not gonna lie to you. All right, next up, let's see. Let's discuss Falcon. I'd put it around here. I don't think it's better than Gravity because of how hard it is for a Falcon to actually get its combo started. But if you do get a combo started with Falcon, it actually does currently have an infinite 100 to 0, but it is getting nerfed in the next update. But if you can manage to hit it, it does have an infinite 100 to 0 with M1, but you have to be really skilled to pull it off, I'm not gonna lie. Next up, let's see. I got Ope. I got it up here with Venom. I do have it below Venom personally because I feel like Venom's just stronger in terms of its ability to attack, especially outside of the room and then push inside of the room. But I do think Ope could give it a run for its money. I think they're pretty even overall, and I only think Venom's better by like a slight amount. Next up, we got Dark. I'd say Dark is debatably better or worse than Falcon. It's countered by the F button extremely heavily, unlike Falcon, but it also has way better range like control instead like unlike Falcon. So you have to like take these things into account. Plus the ult is like pretty much unusable on Dark against any top tier fruit, and you get punished for using Dark Hole by somebody using their F button, and then you get punished heavily. So it's kind of weird. And at least with Falcon, you don't get punished for using your own moves. So, you know, I'll just have to give Falcon a little edge over it for that. Next up, we'll go Barrier. I do think Barrier is around B tier. I could see it being better than Gravity, but personally I feel like Gravity does have the range to deal with Barrier, unlike most fruits. But I do think Falcon and things of that nature get kind of like destroyed by Barrier, but I do think Gravity has the potential to deal with it. Let's see what else we got. We could talk about Gear 5 real quick. I'll put Gear 5 around here. Now for Gear 5, in my personal opinion, I feel like it has the potential to be anywhere in the S tier category, but just for the consistency that it has currently, I'll put him at the bottom of S tier. It did just recently get the duration of the mode that it has buffed, which is extremely good for Gear 5, but I do feel like sometimes it's still lacking, and it is a little too dependent on its Kaminari move, though you can hit spinning top sometimes, but it's just some fruits you don't want to get that close to where you could hit spinning top raw. But anyways, that's a good placement for that. We'll move on to String. String, I feel like, is a debatable, and especially after the recent nerfs with the taking away the lingering hitbox of 16 bullets, and the fact that it's just like the lingering hitbox of 16 bullets carried it. I'm not gonna lie, like that literally carried it like heavily. And they also nerfed like the vertical hitbox of overheat whip, so it's debatable on where you want to put this. I think all three of these are like around the same category, I'm not gonna lie. Somebody's probably gonna be in my comments, probably like Lily or freaking Nico, who like main those two fruits, and they probably know which one is better than the other. But I'll just put String and Barrier next to each other. I'll just say they're equal for now, but I don't really know which one's better in my, like, I don't really know. Next up we got freaking Light. Personally, I do think Light is also in this niche category right here of in between these two, because I think String kind of counters Light, if I like according to last time I checked, but I also do think that like Light can get beaten by String and can beat String, and I think Light does really well against Barrier and can also get beaten by Barrier. It kind of just all depends on the users, I'm not gonna lie. Next up we got my glorious King Doe. I'll put this at the top of A tier. Yes, I did do a video recently where I was dogging, or I wouldn't say dogging, my bad. I was beating 4 other Venoms with Doe. I do feel like it's strong, and I do feel like it can compete with the tier above it, but I just don't think it has the ability to compete with the Z tier and the S tier fruits that are like really good and have a small chance at dealing with the Z tier fruits, but they're just like the A tier, they get kind of beat up by the Z tier fruits, and that's what Doe does, because it does not compete with Dragon V2 or the other fruit that's going to go in that category, which most of you already know what the other fruit is that's going in that category. Next up we got Leopard. Leopard's debatable for bottom of S or top of A. I do think it gets dogged by the top tier fruits that I'm putting up here, but at the same time I think it's just that much better than the A tier fruits that it's kind of disrespectful to put it above it. But actually no, it's not, because Doe has a really good chance at beating Leopard, because Doe counters close range fruits. So I'll just go ahead and put it at the top of A. Still a really strong fruit. It is getting some nerfs in this upcoming update, I hope, because I did some testing and Claw Barrage for some reason does 200 damage. I don't know how that got allowed, but I mean, hey, hopefully it's getting nerfed. But anyways, that's a good place for Leopard. Next up we got, let's see, Ice V2. People think just because Ice Skate got nerfed, this fruit is just trash now for some reason. I did testing. This fruit still has a 1000 damage combo, which is getting nerfed in the next update. Hopefully if the owner like sees our balance changes, but if it doesn't, you know, it'll still have this 1000 damage combo. And it's really strong. I'd say it's arguably above these two fruits right here from my own personal testing, but though I do think it's interchangeable and you could put it behind these two also. Next up, let's see, we got Sand. This is a really good fruit for a common. I put it in C tier, around the same level as gas. I think it does have like around the same versatility as gas. They're really close range fruits, but the block bypassing that recently got added to the fruit definitely gives it the ability to be a little stronger than it was before. Overall, sand is a pretty decent fruit. It's still going to get a few more buffs in this upcoming update, hopefully, and hopefully it can actually get some shine and some people can actually style out with sand, because I've seen some pretty good sand users before. Next up, we have Phoenix. The recent buffs to Phoenix make it crazy, like really crazy. Now, with Phoenix, it's interchangeable between these three right here. It's definitely not better than Ice V2, but it's definitely interchangeable between these two, because I've beaten these two with Phoenix before, but I will say it's below Quake, because Quake kind of heavily counters Phoenix if you get near them. I'm not gonna lie, like it'll stun trade anything that the Phoenix does. So like Phoenixes have to be really careful when fighting Quakes. But I have beaten Magnets before with Phoenix also, and it's like always a close fight, I'm not gonna lie. So I'd say all three of those are in a niche category of all being like kind of near each other. Next up, we have Flame. Flame is top of C. It's still not viable. The combos aren't really there, and Flame Pillar ghosts the second you get hit. So right now, Flame is in a really bad spot. Hopefully, Flame gets some buffs in this next update that, you know, kind of give it the viability to be able to be used against some of these higher tier fruits. Though I do say Flame might have a chance against Dark, because Dark is lacking in terms of, you know, being able to get countered by somebody holding F. So actually I'm gonna move Dark down, because like it's good, but it's really only good against like the noobs who don't know how to use their F button, I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's see. Next up, we got Paw. Paw is definitely one of the top tier fruits up there, especially with the buffs that we want to see happen to it in the next update. I do think it heavily can do really well against something like Barrier, which kind of depends on your opponent being on the ground, I'm not gonna lie. Paw just excels in being able to fight fruits like that, because Paw is literally built in with Geppo from the Sonic Stomp skill. So, you know, I'll give Paw a little room for that. It also kind of heavy counters Pikachu, because as long as you're not on the ground, you have like the most insane mobility against them. So it does really well. Only problem is that sometimes you might run out of stamina if you're being too stamina heavy on trying to stay in the air. But anyways, that's probably a good placement for Paw right there and around the B tier. Next up, we have Dragon V1. The buffs made this insanely good, but I am going to put it right below Phoenix until it gets its Screeching mode fixed, because they did recently catch some nerfs to compensate for the fact that both of these fruits got increased movement speed. Personally, I feel like Phoenix is a lot more oppressive than Dragon, because Tatsumaki is good, but the inconsistency of Dragon V1's combos kind of hold it back. Obviously, it still hits extremely hard, and I'm not saying that Phoenix is greatly better than it. I'm saying, right, like all these fruits in around A tier, besides like maybe like Leopard and Doe, are all around the same level. Like it's extremely debatable. And Ice V2, and there's gonna be like one more fruit I put above Ice V2, I think. Next up, we got, let's see. I'll go Magma V2. This one's debatable for being better than Doe. Magma V2, in my opinion, is the best legendary, no debate about that. But, you know, it's kind of iffy on if I think it's Doe level. I do think it has the certainty, like capabilities to actually be able to beat Doe for sure. But I do think a good Doe will beat a good Magma V2 more times than not. But, you know, it's a very debatable subject. Let's see. Then we have TSR. Recently just got that jet pistol range buff, which makes it go crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but I am gonna have to put it like all the way down here at like the bottom of A tier, because all of these fruits have a counter to the jet pistol range. You literally just Soru towards the TSR and then have a move that can like catch it in the air. They all have like moves to do that, and the Phoenix and Dragon V1 with literally just their movement speed alone can avoid jet pistol, which is TSR's greatest weapon. So I'm gonna have to rank it low for that, and like, you know, yeah, I just had to rank it low for that. Do I think it's better than Magnet? Low key, I think Magnet is better, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I do think Magnet's better, I'm not gonna lie, because you just aim up with your Magnet arms repel, or you use Cyclone and it'll catch them. So yeah, I'll have to put TSR at the bottom of A tier, though the buffs definitely did help, and I do think TSR has the capability to beat everything else in this tier, stopping at around like Doe. It can beat Magma V2. I think I've done Magma V2 and been beaten by a TSR, but Doe is where it like around stops being able to get beat. Let's see. Next up, we have Goro. I'll put Goro right above Doe. Um, I don't think Goro has the same oppressiveness as Leopard in terms of being able to deal damage and things, because Leopard is like really broken right now. Like I said, Claw Barrage does 200 damage for no reason. But another reason that I have to rank Goro a little lower than what I want to is because of the Lightning Palm glitch, where people can block midway through your Lightning Palm. So for now, until that gets fixed, I have to count that in my rankings, and I have to put it below Leopard because Leo is just more consistent. So, you know, this is a good ranking. I do think it and Doe are interchangeable, and Leo's also in the conversation to be down there with them, because they're all about like if you're good with any of these fruits and you're better than your opponent, you'll probably beat them. That's the thing. Like the fruits are extremely in a pretty good and balanced state right now. Next up, we have Smoke. Not the best fruit, but it's definitely somewhat usable. I'll put it at the top of C tier. It's definitely better than Flame. Honestly, it's probably better than Dark 2. I have Dark 2 high, bro. It's like countered by the F button. I ain't gonna lie. It's literally countered by the F button. But I don't think it's better than Magma. I think Magma has the versatility to like beat it and the pressure to beat it, but it would be an extremely hard fight between the Magma and the Smoke. And also like things like this. Like I think Smoke has the ability to put up a fight against all of these, but once you start entering these fruits up here, that's when Smoke starts getting gaps like extremely hard. All right, next up, we got what you've all been waiting for, Soul. I'm gonna have to put this one right beneath Dragon V2. I do think Soul is easily one of the most oppressive and strongest things in the game, but Dragon Twister is, you know, Dragon Twister. So it grabs you the second you transform out of your mode, and you are forced to sit there and watch as the dragon combos you into oblivion. So, you know, honestly, I do see them as pretty much even, but for me personally, I prefer to use Dragon V2 over Soul. That's just my personal opinion. Next up, we have Bomb. Pretty trash fruit because of the inconsistencies in the aim. People like to claim, oh my gosh, infinite combo. They claim the same thing for like PTS freaking rubber, and that infinite combo only works if your opponent either has bad ping or they don't know how to just spam a move. So overall, these fruits are niche and kind of mid. And then lastly, you have Ice V1, and this would either go bottom of C or top of D. I think I'll just give it like top of D, I guess, because I don't really use it and I don't think it's that good. Otherwise, I would have seen more people use it by now. But anyways, guys, this is pretty much my tier list. I'm not gonna lie. Let me go ahead and give you the rundown of what I believe. I believe these are the top echelon of the game. These two cannot be touched by anything else if the player is good enough. And then these are the only two fruits that can compete with each other. These fruits right here are semi-top of the game. They have if you're better than your opponent and they're using these fruits right here, you could probably beat them, but it's still going to be a really tough match. And all these fruits below it, if you're a good player, are going to be pretty easy matches most of the time. Next up, we have the A tier. These are fruits that get pretty much violated by the Z tier most of the time, but still put up a pretty good fight. The S tier, it is possible for them to beat them, but at the same time, more times than not, if you're fighting an equally good player, you're gonna lose, but you can still put up a really good fight and you can win some of your matches. And the fruits that are in the same tier as it are all like debatable for who could win and who could lose. Unless it's like special scenarios like Phoenix and TSR. Phoenix absolutely destroys. Then we got the B tier. These are like the very average niche category of our fruits in this game. Hopefully they'll be receiving some buffs in this upcoming update that'll get them on the level of the fruits up here. And you know, if they don't, it is what it is, but hopefully they get something that can help them compete a little better. Then we have our C tier. These are like bottom tier fruits. They're in need of buffs. They aren't really viable, and if you see somebody using any of the fruits higher than it, you're probably screwed. Then we have your D tier. Just delete these fruits in the game. They're cooked. There's no saving them. I don't even know what to do to save them. And then we have Chop. Don't touch Chop. Let Chop burn in a fiery barrel. Never allow it to escape, and just spit on it, literally. But anyways, guys, that's it for my tier list. I hope this helps you out. We probably have an update coming out soon. It's probably the love fruit because of the sneak that we got in Fruit Battlegrounds, which showed Boa Hancock on her snakes. But anyways, that's it for the video. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.